Welcome to another episode of 5-Star Guns and Gear. We've got a little assembly video for you today, and going to show you how to put together this product. And it is a Caldwell lead sled solo. So we're going to do a little assembly. Going to tell you a little bit about it. And I've actually used this product before. My son has this, and I've got the old lead sled. Works great. However, it has some shortcomings to it, and so does this. But I wanted to get one and show you how easy it is to assemble, show you what changes I think Caldwell should kind of look into making. And we'll go ahead and put it through our 5-star rating system, and I'll tell you how I personally would score this, and I'll let you know what I think overall about if it's a good value or not. So let's go ahead and get started here. Again, this is the Caldwell lead sled solo. And it comes in weighing in at 14 pounds. The dimensions on this is, overall dimensions is 26 by 18. When I put it together, I'll get the height. I didn't think about looking up the height for you guys. Sorry about that. It does have 3 elevation adjustments. It's got some key features I'll show you guys. One thing I like about this is that it's small in size and it does only weigh 14 pounds. And it works on all your shotguns, all your rifles, and there's some benefits over this design over like the old lead sled, and I'll get into those as well. So let me show you how this thing goes together, and then we'll kind of go from there. There's not a whole lot to it. When you pull it out of the box, it's going to come out and it's going to be assembled like this. This is not the way it goes. You also will get a front yoke that supports the front of your stock, and has an elevation adjustment already on it, and it does have a strap to go over your barrel and everything. I'll comment a little bit on that. I'll let you know my thoughts on that. And it does come with a few parts. It does come with the spring. I'll explain that spring to you. You're gonna have 2 bolts. You have a lock nut, and you're gonna have a couple of washers. And this particular one come with a, I guess it's a polymer type washer. It will go in here. I'll show you that as well. It already has a couple of these, so I guess this is a spare in case you lose one. I'm pretty sure it has 2 already in it. It looks like it does. So this is probably just a spare. So let's get right into it. I'll show you how to put this together. It's pretty simple. However, there are some changes that I think would be beneficial, and Caldwell ought to look into doing it because once you have this built and in place, it's not convenient to take it apart and put it together just for storage and stuff. Once it's apart or in place and set up, really, I've always left them set up. My son keeps his set up, but there could be some benefits of packing this back, and I'll show you why I don't like it. Now, you are going to need either a crescent wrench, a couple of them would come in handy, or have a ratchet with a 19mm. And the bolts here are 19mm heads on them. We're going to start off and turn this around. We're going to take this off here, this assembly, because it does not go this way. It will actually rotate over and flip upside down. I'll show you all that. It's a really good design. I like this design. I like it because it's a little lighter weight than my old lead sled is. That's one of the reasons why I bought it. And I've been enjoying using my sons when we go to the range and stuff. So I do have experience. So I am going to go ahead and rate like the reliability and everything and tell you what I like about that. Because even though I haven't put this one together, I can tell you from experience and utilizing my sons how I like it and what the dislikes are too. So, okay, so go ahead and just pull this bolt out here. You've got some of these polymer washers. And set that bolt to the side. And these are the 2 washers that's in there. Do not lose those. You are going to need them. And you will need this as well. So go ahead and hang on to that. And it does come with the spring. This is a spring that actually helps mitigate some of the recoil when you shoot. And I would bet if it wasn't adequate, let's say you're shooting a 300 Win Mag, 300 PRC, 7mm rim mag, this will hold up to it. I know it will because I've shot them off of this. But if you want a little bit more recoil mitigation, you probably could get a heavier duty spring that matches that and set in here. So it's pretty easy how this goes. There is a little piece that protrudes out here that acts as a guide that holds the spring in place, and you have that on the bottom as well, right here. So all we're going to do is going to line this spring up, if I can hold it in place, and we're going to go ahead and set this down. This is a little tricky to kind of hold everything in place and get everything started. And you're going to need your washer. So what I would recommend doing is, tell you what, let's go ahead and start this bolt just a little and get this one washer on. And just kind of hold it in place. Go ahead and line this up. And you're going to have to work this through. Okay, and before it goes through the other side, make sure you get your other washer. Get it in place. This one should be a little bit easier. Now, say that, I'll mess up and lose it. Nope, it went through. Okay. Got the washers captured. And now all we got to do is go ahead and put our nylock nut on. It does have a nylock retention on it. That way it doesn't back off during recoil and stuff for you. And now you're going to need either 2 crescents or 2 wrenches that are 19, and like I'm doing, a crescent and a ratchet with a 19mm socket. So what we're going to do is we're going to tighten this up. We don't want to over tighten. We want it tightened where it's snug, but we don't want to over tighten it, guys, because this you do want to have flex and go up and down. However, you don't want it flopping around. So you do want to take some of this slack out of it. So we'll do that. Right like that probably is fine. You might could do it a little bit tighter, but you're going to have to play around with it. You might have to back it off a little. Just don't over tighten it. I get my tools to work, or if I could get me to work my tools. Okay, that right there is how you want it. It doesn't have that much side-to-side play. This cradle right here, this yoke, will be where your the butt of your stock is going to go. So from here, all we have to do is put the front legs on that we took off. They will actually be oriented like this, and you'll use your 2 bolts that you have over here. So we'll do next, we'll go ahead and get that lined up. Very simple process. Get your bolt, stick it through the hole there, and go ahead and start threading one in. And then I use the ratchet, and we'll snug this up. Now, if you don't have a ratchet and you just have a 19mm wrench or a crescent, that'll work. I've actually seen a guy at the range put one of these together before, and he used a multi-tool. So I guess if you want to do that, you can. I would snug it up with proper tools. That way you can get everything tight. At this point, if you wanted to, you could put a little bit of Loctite. I'd recommend blue Loctite if you did. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to put a little bit on there because I'm planning on taking this apart. But if I did, I probably would not put this on here. Put a little bit of thread locker on there. And we'll get this tightened up. And then we'll put the rest of it together. And it's pretty simple, guys. I mean, it is not difficult to put together. Okay, we've got the front legs on. We went ahead and put your main support bar here. And what we'll do next, we can go ahead and put this elevation screw in. Just go ahead and take this boot off. I have to have some pliers to help me hold that in place. Give me just a second, I'll show you where that's going to go. Okay. Now this right here, you do have a pre-threaded hole right here. That's going to thread into here. And I'll show you something that I am going to do. I'm going to put a little bit of gun grease on this. Now guys, just keep in mind, if you live in an area that's got a lot of dirt and dust and stuff, it may collect a little bit on there, so just keep that in mind. I just think it's good to lubricate these threads a little bit. I don't think it's going to hurt it. Matter of fact, that's actually one thing I did with my sons. Just because the threads were a little bit sticky, and it just seemed like a little bit of lubrication actually helped it. So, you know, do it if you want to do it. It's not required. It's not in the instructions to do that. So it's totally up to you. So just keep in mind, once you got it through here, remember to put your little boot back on the bottom. I mean, you absolutely don't have to work without it, but that'll keep from the rest of this frame getting scratched up. Okay guys, and that's how you're going to work your elevation. Part of the way you're going to work your elevation. We'll go in depth on this in just a minute. Okay, only real other thing you have to do to this, you're just about done guys. All you have to do is put that front yoke on there, and that's all you have to do. It's already pre-assembled, and as you can see, you're going to be able to adjust your elevation also with this and with your front feet. So we'll go over that in a minute. I'm not going to put any oil on this. It really doesn't need it on this. Everything spins really well on this. And we'll throw our gun on here in a minute, and we'll see what it looks like. And that's all you do. You just take that bottom nut off, spin this around, and you can adjust your elevation from here. You can adjust your elevation from here. You can adjust your level from here and your elevation, because it does have some adjustment to it for height as well. So there's 3 different areas you can adjust your elevation for. So actually that's pretty cool. It gives you a lot more adjustment by doing that. So I really like that feature in it. Now, this does not have windage adjustment, but it's just as easy to take this. Let's say you get your shot, you fire, and you're just a little bit off. It is so simple. If you got your elevation already down, just to tap this in place where you want to go. Get everything lined back up, you're good to go. That helps save in cost, and we'll go over the cost and everything on this. It's very, very affordable. That's one thing I do like about it. And that's all you have to do to set it up. It's done. It's ready to go right there, guys. It's not complicated. There could be things that's better about it. So let's get into that next. Let's get into what I think about it. We'll get it into the 5-star rating, and I'll let you know my views on that. But first, let's get a gun set up in here, and I'll show you what it looks like with the gun. That'll also give me a chance to show you what I dislike about this particular setup as well. So give me just a second. Let me grab a gun. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. So went ahead and set up this Remington 700 30-06. Really love this gun. This was belonged to my dad, and I got it when he passed away. This was given to him in 1981. I was 6 years old when this was given to him as a Christmas gift from us kids, and so it means a lot to me. Love this gun, great shooter, and to be honest, I was the first person to shoot it. He never did. I shot it before he passed away. He told me I could go shoot it, and I shot it. Wound up inheriting it. This is probably my prize gun out of everything I own. Not necessarily value of price, it's sentimental value. Love this gun. Anyway, let's get back to this rest. So the Caldwell lead sled solo. It sets up like this. Your buttstock goes ahead and goes in this rear yoke here and in this front yoke. And you have an option of using the strap if you want to. So you can adjust your elevation, like I said, from right here if you'd like. It's actually designed to actually elevate from right here. And you can use these as well. Although these are more primarily for your leveling for your front, you don't have to use it that way. So I want to kind of go over on some of my dislikes of this setup right here. One of the dislikes I have is, even though this is set up pretty good and it's pretty darn steady, and you can tighten this up where this has practically no play in it. I do not like this rear yoke very much, nor the front. I wish the front was a little bit different, but it does cradle this gun really good. But I have had guns in my son's that I didn't like how it set in there. I think they could have done a little bit better design up here, and maybe used a different padding system or something, and had a little bit more of a weld to the front of your stock there. Now the back, it does accommodate a bunch of different styles and sizes of stock, so I get why they did this, but I wish they would have went with something that was really flexible, like a honeycomb material or something, that when you set the butt in there, it really stayed in place. This does have a little bit of wiggle. Now when you're set up, it's really not that big a deal, but it's just little things like this. I think with a little bit more R&D and stuff, if Caldwell wanted to do it, I think it'd be beneficial to shooters and stuff if they'd implement some little things. Maybe have just a little bit slightly different design. Even if they sold this as an upgrade, could take this off. I believe there's a screw here. You take that out, lift this off, put a new one on. If you already own this, you know, even if they want to do it as an upgrade, that'd be a great piece. And maybe upgraded front yoke as well. I think that would be ideal there as well. Guys, this gun's unloaded, so just to let y'all know. I know some of you guys probably already was like, you didn't safety check your gun. But this gun is unloaded. But overall, I do like the design. To get back into some of the stuff, let me go ahead and take this off. Pretty simple. And you can use this and you don't have to use it. And I'll tell you why I have mixed feelings about the strap. We'll get into that as well. So, let me just set this over here out of the way. Told you what I didn't like about this rear and front yoke, but it works. Don't get me wrong, it works. It works great. They did do a good job on engineering this. When you actually fire this gun, this spring is in here to help mitigate recoil. This is 14 pounds compared to my lead sled. I wish I had it in here. I'd show it to you. It's slightly bigger footprint. You can actually put barbell weights on it if you wanted to. And I think you can put up to 100 pounds of weight on it if you wanted to. But the sled itself, I believe, is 25 pounds. So this is coming in about 11 pounds lighter. I know it is a lot lighter. So that has pluses and minuses. Plus, it's a little bit easier to get around. It is a little bit lighter weight. The negative about that weight does help you mitigate recoil, especially on your larger caliber guns, 7mm Rim Max, 300 PRC. All those, you know, are pretty hard hitters. So it could benefit from the bigger lead sled, but it does really good in this. Now, it does have this area right here. You can put a 25-pound lead shot bag in here, and that's what this is designed to do. That's going to give you some weight in here, and it also help you mitigate some of that recoil. So you can definitely do that. And you only have to have this in there. Just by itself, the way this is set up alone, it's going to take a lot of that recoil out of it for you. And it's going to help you keep your shots in line, especially if you're sighting in, you're doing some precision shooting. Now, if you're doing really high-end precision shooting, there's a lot better options than this, especially rest and stuff that has windage and elevation all built in. There's some that micro track, very, very nice units out there. And I used to have some of those when I used to do precision shooting. Sold a lot of that gear over the years. Wished I wouldn't have. Some of that stuff was super, super nice. And so overall, it is a good product. Now, I showed you how the elevation and everything works. Let me tell you why I don't like the strap. I do think it is beneficial. It does help. In most instances, it's going to be fine, especially if you don't have a free floated barrel. I don't think it's going to matter that much. But a lot of your rifles are free floated. A lot of your precision rifles, the barrels are free floated. My personal opinion, once you start putting any kind of tension, even so slight, on that barrel, when you strap that in, you could cause issues on like point of impact shifts and stuff like that. So without this on here, let's say you shoot the gun, you may have a point of impact that's different than with it on here. So let's say if you was at a competition where you could, let's say, strap this in, but let's say there was other stages where you couldn't have it strapped in or rest. Maybe you had to shoulder it in a prone position, whatever. At that point, changing that with the strap being on there, even if you thought you had it loose, if you just had a little bit of tension on there, if it shifts your point of impact, that could affect it when you have this off of there. So keep that in mind. It's not a deal killer. The easiest thing to do, keep it off. Pretty simple. You do not have to use it. I rarely use it when I borrow my son's. I haven't really seen a need. Even shooting 300 PRC, 7mm Rim Mag, 30-06, haven't had an issue where I had to have that. It's nice if you want to strap that in. It's there if you want it. You're going to have to make up your mind whether you want it. And if you start seeing variances by using it, just know that it could have something to do with that strap. So always keep that in mind. You might have to loosen it up or just not use it at all. That's up to you. You might not even have an issue. You might have a gun that's not free floated. Doesn't matter if you freaking put a vise on it. It's not going to matter. It's not going to change your point of impact. Everything's, you know, it's not, that barrel's not free floated. You're not going to hurt it. Now that far back close to the receiver, you're not going to have that much deflection as if you was strapping something down at the end of the barrel. that's going to even be worse, you know. So at least it is on this end. I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not saying it will do that. Depends on how precise you want to be. So trying to think here what we haven't gone over. Price. MSRP on this is going for $109.99. I know you can get them online for around $90 to $100. Might can get them on sale even cheaper than that if you look around. I'm not sure. Might can get some coupon codes online. That's a possibility. What I do like, it is heavy duty steel construction. It only weighs 14 pounds. I know, guys, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. For a rest like this, it's not. My lead sled is heavier. I've got an old lead sled, and that sucker's heavy. And heavy has its benefits, like I discussed. Some of the things that I don't like about it is if you wanted to take this apart, you're going to have tools. You're either going to need a crescent wrench, a ratchet, pair of pliers. You're going to need something to take these 19mm bolts out. Caldwell, if it was me, guys, that you're watching this video, but if you was, I would do toolless installation with the toolless bolt system. I mean, you already got this right here. You could have used the system just like this for these side bolts and these front bolts. All you'd have to do in here, have your cutout spot right here. It doesn't matter, it's got a hole in it. Matter of fact, it may be beneficial, especially if this is in the rain, because this is going to hold water. Again, something you might think about doing is drilling a couple holes if you're going to leave it outside. Spray a little spray paint on them. That way I kind of mitigate some of the rust over some time where you drilled that, but that'll help let the water out. But you could definitely, they could punch this out in this area right here, and that would allow a handle to go right there, and you could screw that on, screw this on with a knob that's attached to a bolt, and then that would make it toolless assembly and disassembly, because not everybody's going to have the tools they need to put this together. Most of us are, and it's not that difficult to go find a tool. If you don't have one, I'm sure your neighbor probably has one that'll let you borrow one. You got a friend, somebody that'll let you borrow a tool. Go to AutoZone or something like that. They do free tool loaners if you had to, and put it together if you don't have the tool. So I guess you could do that. But if you didn't have the tool, a toolless setup for assembly and disassembly would be so cool. Because if I had a toolless setup, I would not leave this together. I would go ahead and pull this off. I would pull this out, flip it out, and put it right back together like it was when it came out of the box, because it gives them more compact area to store this at. And when you got the range, you don't have to worry about tools. Just put this sucker back together. I'm telling you, that would be the way to do it. And that's something you could actually do on your own. But Caldwell, please consider revising this or sell an upgrade kit. If you do something that would upgrade this for that, and upgrade your front and rear yokes here, I mean, they're not bad. Just make them a little bit better. Even if it was an upgrade option, this would be 100% probably a 5-star review. So getting into 5-star reviews, let's go ahead and talk about price. Price at retail $109.99. I think that's kind of the high mark, but you know, for what you're getting, I don't think it's bad. So I think it could be improved. I think this is very well worth 80 bucks if you can find it for that. I paid full price for it, but it's at the top of the scope for some of the shooters. You know, I think some more shooters would be able to get in if you just drop the price just a little bit on it. I think that would help out. So as far as price, you're right there. I just don't think you're quite there. Although I say that, I sure spent the money, and I don't regret it. I'd spend the money again on it, but some people wouldn't. So let's say 4.5 stars for price. Reliability. I would say this has been a very reliable unit that I've used in my sons. I haven't had any issues. Haven't had any issues with the recoil spring. It does not pop out. The little detented area right there, it captures that spring just fine. You're not going to have any issues. It's not like it's going to go loose on you. there's not a whole lot that can go wrong. All his adjustment knobs on his, I mean, we've shot the heck out of his. We have not had any issues. Like I said, he had a little scratchiness on the thread on this elevation. So like I did here, I put a little bit of gun grease on it. He hasn't had any issues since. This front one doesn't seem like it's needed it. These front adjustment knobs for your level and elevation if you wanted to. Again, you could put a little grease on those if you felt it was necessary, but you don't have to do that. And these are actually, these bolts here are split where you can lock it into place. So once you have everything adjusted, you can lock that in place. I didn't show you guys that. So there's that on there. So that's pretty cool. What else? Overall reliability, I think there could be some improvements because of the yoke, the front and rear. It does its job, but I think you could actually have a better fit to all the stocks, especially if you got one of those cushion one that has, you know, that's squishy. Now, there's some other things you can do. I've seen people put kind of like mattress foam, like the memory foam, and that works. They put it in here and they stick the butt of their gun in there. It worked really good. So, I mean, there's things you can do to fix this, but I think, you know, that's something they could have done very easily and made this a little bit better product. Same up here. They have some gun rests with like a honeycomb design where it your gun kind of just sinks in there and sets and it's solid. I think that design would have been good up front as well. So for the reliability category, it's overall a 5.0 reliable, but deducting for this stuff right here, we're going to give it 4 stars, you know, but just because it could use some improvements. Not that it has to have those improvements, just because there is improvements that could be made to this to make this a better product. Ease of use. This would almost get a 5-star on ease of use, and I'll tell you why I'm not giving a 5-star. Just because what I mentioned earlier, I think toolless installation would justify giving this a 5-star. Sorry guys, I had something fall over there. So we're going to give this 4 stars on ease of use, just because if you get somebody that doesn't have a tool, or if you wanted to take this apart all the time, you're going to have a tool to take it apart. You're going to have a tool to assemble it. So if you are one of those that want to break it down every time, make it compact just for storage purposes or ease of transport, you know, it's not a deal killer for me just to leave it together. But it certainly would make it easier if we did toolless installation. So there's a couple different ways Caldwell could go about that. The simplest way, I think, would be get the bolts with the knobs on it. It'd be simple, easy to do. And instead of using a nylock nut, use a regular nut with a lock washer on it. Because that would be easy to hold and cinch up. Or thread your bolt right here, or not thread it, weld a bolt on, or nut, sorry, not a bolt, a nut on this side of the plate, and then you don't have to worry about even holding that nut in place. Or put your little piece of pipe in there and tap it, and that would act as basically your bolt there, your nut there for your bolt to go through. And then you could use, you know, something like a bolt with the knob on it. So and I would recommend doing it for here as well. Of course, you'd have to cut out an area, that way you'd have clearance and everything, but it would not be that difficult to do. Simple, simple, simple. Matter of fact, you could even drop this pan even a little bit deeper down to allow for that, and it probably allow you to get more weight. You could get 35 pounds of lead shot in here. That would be an option. Definitely. So ease of use, let's go with a 4.0. Availability, I don't think I went over that. Availability, we're going to give it a 4.5 because I've seen this in Bass Pro Shops. I believe has it. I don't know if I've seen it in Field and Stream or not. Maybe. Definitely online, it's simple to find. Midway USA, Amazon, eBay. a lot of retailers. I think Palmetto State Armory might have it. A lot of people companies carry this particular model. So I'd say availability 4.5. Let's do 4.5 stars on that. It's not in every gun shop you go in, so we'll give it 4.5. Quality, guys, this thing is built solid. It's well built. There's nothing wrong with it. It does have some shortfalls that, in my opinion, like the yokes and stuff like that, toolless assembly and disassembly, I think it'd benefit from that. But other than that, overall quality, I'm going to give it a 4.5 stars. I mean, there's always some improvements, minor improvements that any company can make with any product. So we're going to do 4.5 stars on that. So our overall star rating, so we got, let's just go with the price 4.0, so 4 stars. Availability 4.5, reliability 4 stars, ease of use 4 stars, quality 4.5 stars. Overall, average it out, that should come out to right about 4 stars if I'm correct. So since we're on the full and half star system, we're going to give it a 4 stars. So 4 stars is not bad. It's teetering on the 4.5 stars. I do not think it's worthy of having a 5-star rating. So I would say 4 to 4.5 stars, but we're going to say 4 stars on this because it could use some improvements. But overall, it does really good. I don't think you'd have a problem with this. I think you'd enjoy using this. One of the other benefits, guys, of this compared to some of the other sleds out there, some of the other devices you can buy from other companies and stuff, and keep in mind, even the lead sled has its downfalls. If you have an AR-15, Mini 14, any mag-fed, even lever action guns, you may have an issue. And what I'm talking about is a lot of them will have a solid bar that goes from front to back, right underneath your stock. If it does, depend on how you load that gun, whether it be lever action or magazine fed, this bar may be in the way. This bar is offset. They actually, purposely, they recurve this out, and it allows for your guns with a magazine to set in here. So that's kind of nice. Now, depending on how high your, if you put a lead-weighted bag in there, it may take up some of that space, but you're still usually going to be able to get a magazine-fed gun in here without a problem. And you're probably going to go ahead and be able to operate your lever action without a problem. So keep that in mind. A lot of people don't think about it. They'll buy these and they'll have a magazine-fed gun, and they will not have enough clearance under here. So that could be an issue. So keep that in mind. That may be a deciding factor in which actual, like if you get a lead sled, which lead sled you get, or if you get another brand that is similar, if it will actually work for your application. So keep that in mind. Other than that, guys, that's pretty much all on this. Guys, I felt I could give you a good, fair review on this because I've used this device. I've used my son several times out the range. Matter of fact, I've used his more lately than I've used my old lead sled, just because it's lighter, it's easier to get around, it does the job just fine. Only time I usually pull mine out if we got a couple of people there and he's wanting to use his and I don't have a chance to use it, so I'll pull mine out. Or if we got multiple people, it just makes it a little bit easier to have a couple of these available if you need them. So especially when you're teaching somebody how to shoot, it's really nice to take a variable out and set your gun up on something like this. It holds it solid. It does a really good job. And even if you're not shooting precision, I would say this is not the best option for precision shooting, although it will work. There is better options out there. But if you're sighting in or just want a higher degree of accuracy, this certainly can help you out. So keep this in mind, guys. This is the Caldwell Lead Sled Solo. And like I say, some of the benefits I do like is this is curved out, and it's going to allow you more options, more guns to go on here that will fit this overall design. So guys, I appreciate y'all being here with me today. If you're subscribed, thank you so much. If you're not, please consider subscribing. I'd certainly appreciate it. actually helps our algorithm with YouTube, and we're trying to build this community up and build this channel up. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon. That way you know when we're putting out new videos. If you'd like to see something, if you got an opinion on this, you hate it, you love it, whatever, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think, because this isn't for everybody, and some people think this is a bee's knees, guys. And whether you love it, you hate it, or if you're on the fence about it, let me know what your thoughts are. If you're thinking about buying this, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. So with that said, guys, as always, I'll catch you on the next episode.